A judge heard arguments today in that legal fight over where to build Springfield's new $2 billion courthouse. The losing bidders say the process was rigged. The winner says the lawsuit is nothing more than just a delay tactic. Thanks for joining us on Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Amanda Martin Ryan. Since the new location was decided, there has been courthouse drama between the developers behind Liberty Junction and local developers Jeb Belize and Dinesh Patel. For weeks, the plaintiffs have claimed developer John Barrows had a conflict of interest during the bidding process. Barrows, though, argues Belize and Patel had found no actual evidence and therefore had no case.
Today, that case was heard in the very courthouse at the center of the dispute, the Roderick, Ireland courthouse, and that's where we find Western Mass News reporter Madison Lasowski.
She joins us live after attending the court hearing this morning. So, Madison, what was discussed?
Yeah, Chris and Amanda, there's a lot to break down on this case. We heard from both sides, and it was a very lengthy and interesting discussion. So we're going to break this down for you in as simple terms as possible. First, we're going to talk about the plaintiffs and what they argued. Jeb Belize and Dinesh Patel, they're saying that the $2 billion Springfield development procurement was corrupted by conflicts of interest involving political insiders. Now, even though John Barrows of Liberty Junction withdrew from the project, they still claim that the unfair advantage cannot be undone here. They're asking the court to temporarily block the state from signing a long-term lease, saying the deal would lock in irreversible commitments and set a precedent for the city. Now, following today's court proceedings, the plaintiffs submitted a joint statement emphasizing their argument. It reads in part, "Our commitment to the courthouse employees, to Springfield, and to Hampden County taxpayers is absolute. That's why we believe a project of this importance needs a process that is fair, transparent, and follows the rules." Now, as for the defense, they don't believe that there's any merit to these claims. They said that the lawsuit is an attempt to recoup a lost bid that would actually cost taxpayers $420 million more. They assert that John Barrows fully complied with the ethics guidelines and had zero influence over the selection process. They say the state chose the winning bid purely because it was the better proposal, and blocking the project would only enforce employees to remain working in the health hazardous facility for longer. Speaking after the hearing, Liberty Junction co-founders Richard Mann and Claiborne Williams criticized the lawsuit for stalling a desperately needed project, arguing court staff deserve a safe facility.
Dedicated professional employees and their families deserve a safe and healthy courthouse. The people of Hampden County deserve a safe civic building. Jeb Belize intends to stall that process.
Both sides making their cases clear to the judge this morning. Now, we don't have an answer just yet on what is going to happen, but once the judge makes his final decision, we'll keep you updated both on air and online at westernmassnews.com. For now, reporting live in Springfield, Madison Lasowski, Western Mass News.